All right, let's dive into a celestial mystery that totally flips a long-held fact on its head. For decades, it was a common piece of trivia that only one person in all of history had ever been struck by a meteorite. But what if that's completely wrong?
It seems like it should be a simple question, right? I mean, our planet is getting pelted with space debris all the time. You'd think the answer would be a definite yes, of course. But for the longest time, the official record told a very, very different story. Get this. For ages, the consensus among experts was that, yep, in all of recorded human history, only one single person had ever been directly hit by a rock from space. Her name was Anne Hodges, and her story is this bizarre one in a billion thing that captivated the entire world. So let's start there, with the one case that for so long was the only case. This is the incredible story of Anne Hodges, a woman who became famous for, well, a pretty painful reason. Okay, just try to imagine this. It's 1954. Anne Hodges is just taking a nap on her couch. Suddenly, a 9-pound black rock smashes through the ceiling, ricochets off a big wooden radio, and slams right into her hip. She wasn't seriously hurt, thank goodness, but she was left with what has to be one of the most famous bruises in history. Now you'd think, wow, the only person in history to get hit by a meteorite? She must have become rich and famous. But for Anne Hodges, the reality was a whole lot darker. The real story really begins after the cosmic collision. And here's the really tragic part of her story. In public, yeah, she was a celebrity. The Hodges meteorite was headline news. But behind the scenes, her life was falling apart. She got into a nasty legal battle with her landlady over who actually owned the space rock. All the stress and the constant attention just took a terrible toll on her. Her health got worse, her marriage ended, and she died in a nursing home at just 52. That rock from the sky, it was more of a curse than a gift. So for decades, Anne's story was the only one. But does that really add up? I mean, have we, as a species, just been that lucky for thousands of years? Let's zoom out and see if there are other close calls that have been overlooked. If you just look at recent history, it's full of near misses. We've had a meteorite smash a parked car in New York, another one crashed right through a house in New Orleans, and then you have the really big ones like the Chelyabinsk event in 2013. That meteor exploded in the atmosphere, and the shockwave injured over 1,200 people without a single rock directly hitting anyone. The threat is definitely real. So this is the big question. If these things are happening now, why are the history books so quiet about it? Well, it mostly comes down to language. For most of history, people didn't have the science to understand what they were seeing, so they didn't call them meteorites. They used descriptions like stones from the sky or a rain of stones, often thinking it was a supernatural event, not a cosmic one. And the potential scale of these things is just staggering. Back in 1490, records from Qingyang, China, describe a catastrophic rain of stones that may have killed as many as 10,000 people. Now, it's hard to verify for sure, but the description sounds terrifyingly similar to what we saw in Chelyabinsk, just on a much, much deadlier scale. While the Qingyang event is still debated, researchers have recently found something absolutely incredible. The first credible, documented proof of someone being killed by a meteorite. And where they found it is almost as wild as the discovery itself. The evidence wasn't lost to time, it was just locked away by language. The records were sitting in the state archives in Turkey, written in this really complex Ottoman Turkish script. It wasn't until these documents were recently digitized and translated that this story, hidden for over a century, finally came to light. And this is it, the smoking gun, a series of 3 official government letters from August 22, 1888. They describe a terrifying event over what is now Iraq, a huge fireball in the sky, followed by a 10-minute-long rain of meteorites. And the outcome was chillingly specific. 1 man killed, another paralyzed. These weren't myths or legends. They were official government documents. It's the first real concrete proof we have. So, in the blink of an eye, our entire understanding has shifted. We've gone from 1 confirmed victim in all of history to at least 2, with thousands more potentially lost to time. So that brings up a pretty important question. What are the real odds of getting hit by something from the sky today? Okay, to put your mind at ease, let's look at the numbers. Your lifetime odds of dying from a local meteorite strike are about 1 in 1.6 million. Just for context, you are way more likely to get struck by lightning. So while the threat is real, it's also incredibly, incredibly rare.
And it turns out the greatest danger often comes from what's called a bolide. That's the term for a super bright meteor that explodes in the atmosphere. It creates a massive shockwave and can rain down a ton of debris over a wide area. This is exactly what happened over Chelyabinsk, and it's what those 1888 letters described, a fireball that rained destruction from above.
You know, the discovery of this one forgotten story is such a powerful reminder that history is not set in stone. It's a living thing that we're constantly rediscovering. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other facts that we all accept as true are just waiting for the right evidence to be overturned? What other incredible stories are out there hidden in an archive, just waiting for someone to find them?